Right, memo kwa BBM edi about sports link Ghana so ebusia bibi besi na enra His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ebo modern swear in the new sports minister Honorable Kofi Adams na owie ye no ene wabo ne nkomo first enkomodi a odi ye no anase first interview course no etimi ewremu ewo Love FM na openi no utimi se wa giga papa adwuma no why crowd say oba beye na say me no ka say no His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wa ban all government appointees say ma obi bia use first class na eno na Honorable Kofi Adams aka ne pen edache Ghana Football Association say omonso they are not exceptional say emra no ebedi obia enu ti no they don't have any right say omonso omo tukwan ya na say omo ko ba bia ombe moden say omo use first class ti say the GF no wo mo hu e ba be hyehye omo a enya asem ketoa na Honorable ebo nkomo no e na o se hwe oni ni jumadi a oba be die nyina no ni nyina e base on 5 standings and Honorable say odi ba be ya adwuma. First one, according to Honorable Kofi Adams no was say ade odi ba be ya adwuma kese eye transparency obehwe say bibibia no ebe ya transparent e dey ama ordinary Ghanaian any obi bia it or the transparency e ba be ya adwuma ho afei accountability sebe ya de sempo akapre e na edi dwuma we ya enmu ebe ya fine ama obi ahu dey say o make account ema public ne hu no ni nyina no expect say together with the GF no ombebo ama accountability no aye adwuma enye say ye call work up aba ansa ne ba be declare budget e dey call o say da bi or the accountability aye adwuma. That's in the second standing or the aye adwuma. Third one also obehwe na ya raising funds ahodo e dey aboa ya sporting activities ahodo not only blasters but other disciplines no obehwe so obe raising funds ahodo na etimi aboa ama omunyina dwumadie no akoso ye honom na ose wo hwe no wa eradicate corruption ade a high football even in the local setup no your local league no GP no ade say corruption adomo sukoye it obehwe no wa eradicate corruption so e dey free Ghana football mu na ose die twato infrastructure ade a eno so hante Ghana ye pa it obehwe na ye stadium ahodo ni nyina no watimi aboa e develop na other disciplines no so no ade bi e beboa infrastructure sem bi e beboa ama omo so adwuma akoye no Honorable Kofi Adams obehwe na watimi aboa ma pipipia atimi akoso na Honorable nsem ne de awusu ewa yenkoni nkotie Honorable say bani a yabani GF keto Okraku ene ne other officials no yabani omo yenkotie Honorable nsem a okai.
Mr. Adams, if you can hear us, Honorable, good morning and thank you very much for joining us here on Love FM.
Good morning and thank you for the opportunity to have this engagement with you.
Okay, we really appreciate it and congratulations on your appointment, sir.
Thanks.
Okay. I just played back the voice of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, where he has tasked you to inject transparency, professionalism and modernity into the management of the sporting sector. It looks quite a huge and Herculean task ahead of you, sir.
Well, that is the case. He's just repeated what it is that he has been telling us in private, even before the elections and after the elections, when he was considering a number of persons he thought could fill various positions. And so yesterday was yet another opportunity to say it to us and also to all Ghanaians to listen and understand what it is the marching orders are to his various appointees. I do know that Ghanaians are concerned about accountability and transparency in the sports, various sports, not just financial accountability, but even the game itself, transparency in the game. How do match commissioners behave? Do they really assess situations truthfully and abide by the rules of commissioning matches? What about refereeing? Are referees fair? Is their selection appropriate? What about club owners? and the management of various matches, security, and what have you. All these comes under the matters of what? Transparency and accountability. So accountability is not only financial. Whilst financial will be key concern because we need to save money and inject same into other sporting discipline, we want to see transparency and accountability in all the processes so that you don't inject money only for either a match commissioner to do something otherwise that will mar the game, or a referee will do something else that will mar the game, or even fans will do something that will mar the game, or officials, club owners, club bank rollers, and what have you will do something that will mar the game. So transparency is key, accountability is key, and I'm going to drive hard on these areas.
Okay. Right. Now, you're on record to have said that you will want to take another look at especially the appointments that have been made recently to the Black Stars technical team, and if possible, maybe find other options where you think that the what we are paying those individuals will be too much for the country to, as it were, shoulder. Are you still standing by that?
You know, even yesterday at our swearing in, what did His Excellency the President say? He said, travels, especially foreign travels, are banned, and that when necessary, they must be cleared with the Chief of Staff. And that person who is cleared to travel should not fly on a first class, maybe at best business. So it should tell you that this is the mindset of the president. Every other person must equally develop same mindset, including the GFA. The GFA cannot live in a different world when the president's objectives and direction is that we should go this way. And so we will sit with them also for them to have that understanding.
Okay.
And I believe they will not kick against any such proposition. Because, look, our sport, our football is down. The trust level between management and fans and followers is low. It is actions such as what have been mentioned by His Excellency and what you have quoted as me proposing earlier in some of my engagements is what can bring back the confidence.
Okay.
And so it is even for the good of the sport. It's good for the game. It's good for the management, for us to be seen, to be perceived by the public and by the people that we are truly being financially prudent.
Okay. Interesting to hear you say you are going to drive hard on these areas. I was going to ask you that, how do you intend to enforce all these to make sure that your office becomes a success?
Well, I believe in engagement. I'm one person who believes in engagement. Look, there are many who may point to this person or that person as the problem, and that go strike this person, and that is the only way we see you as working. Sometimes I think otherwise. I think engagement does the magic. And so one will try to engage. And I'm engaging with the position that all of us are part of the solution. I don't start a conversation seeing you as a problem. I start a conversation seeing you as part of the solution and try to let you see how we must do it in order for all of us to succeed. It is only if you prove to me that no, these identifiable solutions you don't want to associate, you are not going to, you want to still stay where we were, which has given us all the problems, then I will treat you as part of the problem and not part of the solution. And in that case, the treatment will not be the same as treating you as part of what? The solution. So engagement, consultation. We will consult broadly. And at the end of the day, when we are taking decisions, we know that we are taking very, very satisfactory decisions. We are taking decisions that once implemented to the letter, it will take us out of all the troubles that has encountered us over the years and brought our sports so low.
All right. Now, I know that, since you were mentioned, you've done as you said, you've done your own underground work, knowing the state of sports here in Ghana. What do you think is the reason for our sports decline? The little that you've done, the little investigations you've done yourself that we are going to work on?
Well, clearly, in the statement of His Excellency yesterday, he mentioned some of them. Lack of accountability and transparency. The fact that sometimes no checks and balances in place, or even if they exist, some incestuous relationships have so been introduced, such that the A that is supposed to check B doesn't check B because B too will not check A, and so it has not helped the growth of the sport. Of course, funding has been a major issue. Funding has been a major issue. And because of lack of trust, whether from fans or from corporate institutions, the lack of trust, because we run our federations, our associations, our clubs like one-man business. Most of them, they are not run effectively with appropriate corporate governance structures in place. And so people are not willing to put their money in. If you treat clubs like one-man clubs, nobody will want to come and put his or her money in there. So funding has also been a matter of concern. Then, of course, corruption, where sometimes when monies come, they are not used for what it's really intended for. Very little goes into what is supposed to be used. Then infrastructure, which is also linked to funding, the infrastructure has not been the best. And some of this infrastructure is either poor, like currently you hear a lot of noise about astroturfs being done, but when you go and check, most of these astroturfs are not even up to standard. Where either they are not up to standard in terms of size of pitch, or they are not up to standard in terms of quality of material that has been used. And so infrastructure has become another matter. Then, of course, game governance of our games has been a problem. We are going to be looking into all these areas and to see to it that we strengthen. There is not enough professionals in the system to help grow our sport. We do not have a lot of professionals. In some instances, it is either former athletes or players who are called upon to kind of like help in training others, which should not be the case. As a country, we should be able to develop the skill sets of persons to serve as coaches, to serve, sports medicine, sports nutrition, sports management, and all those things, sports business, are all angles. Even media, the sports media must be upgraded. Look, I can tell you there are a lot of media persons who do not know how to even present a commentary of some particular sports. They don't even know how the scoring is done, and so it involves proper training.
Yeah. There's a lot.
There's so much that we must do to bring our sports disciplines and that's the various sporting disciplines to the level that we must bring it.
Okay, there's a lot of work ahead of you, but in your previous submission, I heard you talk about funding. Now, our major concern here has been the budget. The budget allocation for sports in the budget being, the presentation of the budget. Many feel that sports is really undervalued. We are not getting enough funding for sports. How do you intend to, as it were, get more funding so that, the other sports, apart from football, are also given, good attention, having a lot of revenue, a lot of money in there so that they are able to work and make sure that we get the other disciplines to that level. If not to the level of football, at least it should appreciate, in a way that we will all be happy about.
Well, it's been a headache. That's why I talked about the corporate world.
Okay.
That we need to bring on board the corporate world. They already have some corporate social responsibilities that they do sometimes. Can we organize this in such a way that it will help our sports? Can we sit with them and ask them what they want from us as leadership, as a nation, as a country, as a state, what they think we should do for them to enable them also support our sport? When we agree, then we will now go back and plan all these together. So corporate funding from corporate Ghana will be one area that we would have to look at.
Okay.
But again, I'm going to be particularly interested in whatever little state can do for us to put it also at the grassroots level. Look, in the past when we were doing so well in some of the sporting disciplines, we took the grassroots a bit more serious. Our leagues were functioning very well. They were having numbers following our leagues. Look, those times, the Kotoko, the House of Oaks, the various RTUs, you could see numbers following them. Today, our Premier League is in its sorry state. Underfunded, poor discipline, the corporate governance system is so poor, and so fan indiscipline, lack of security, and so we are not even coaching our fans. Fan coaching doesn't exist, completely non-existent in our part of the world or our country. We need to look at all these areas to try and up our game.
Okay.
So investment in grassroots sports is going to be very high.
Okay.
So that we can catch them young. The amateur boxing, we need to catch them young. Football, we need to catch them young. We should not leave it for only the academies. You see, the academies, the football academies that are springing up, it's more of business. They try and pick the people, they train them small, the next moment they are taking them out, selling them. But the state must get involved in one way or the other, and to be able to help keep some of these skills all through. And that is what will strengthen our Premier Leagues.
Okay.
But if the guys get picked, and by age 15, 16, they are selling them out there, they don't impact in our local leagues. And so you will not have that strong local players that can easily fit into your national team.
But Honorable, how are you going to stop that, especially for footballers who are, as it were, trying to seek greener pastures at that early age? How can we do to stop them?
You see, for some of them, that is why we indicated that we were going to introduce a model that will give some allowance to our registered players of all the clubs that are playing at the Premier level. This, in one way or the other, will supplement whatever the clubs are paying them.
So do we still intend to do that?
Why will anyone think of leaving Ghana and go to war-torn Sudan or Iraq, Libya and the rest that they are going to play there. Why? They go there because they feel like they may earn something better than they are earning here. You think that if the state can get involved in one form or the other to up their remuneration through this allowance system, they won't love to play in Ghana here where we have peace. Nobody will want to go to a war-torn country.
So, Honorable, sorry to cut you in, but so do we still intend to do that to pay the stipends for the Premier League players, for instance?
We mean to keep it.
Wow.
It was a manifesto promise, and we are not going to do away with it.
Do you have any figure in mind?
My only pain is what had happened recently when Kumasi Asante Kotoko went to play in Swatrema FC in Swatre, and what happened there. Sometimes when you are trying to bring corporates to support our sports, and incidents such as what happened there happens, they will not want to associate their brand with such things.
Yeah. But Honorable, so have you thought about maybe a figure for the players, for instance, that you want to pay to each player or the teams?
Well, we are just about commencing further engagements.
Okay.
So I have just been sworn in yesterday, but before then, before elections, there were some levels of engagement, and so every item indicated in our manifesto have implementation plan, and there were some costing.
Okay.
But I don't think that the figures that were used then may apply today. So we will commence some levels of engagement with the Galka, where the club owners are, and we will see how. All
right, say them di ka eka ya no bibi besi say me say what is this current administration no ebe administration bi a ket ne ho be papa no papa enya de say ket ebe take enema for granted there be omo say he once a ket eye Ghana ni ne nko ade omo be say government policy bia no ket Okraku di GF no omo be di so enkoye say ket mu gina ha na aban ni gina ha ebi ensida na ade a honorable kan ya mama ni giye ene say wose we in doing na juma ni nyina no obere say engagement ebekoso enkoye say onu nko a no ateki decision aban ni say nti ti ya na ye wose da bi enye sa bibia no ono mbetena se na omo ajojo no hu ekwan pa omo befa so na omo aye sa ade no nti say de abusuan GF for no ahwe bi be resign mark my words ahwe bi be jadwuma no because enema ba be tough e de ama honorable na uti honorable nsem okan na wo say I'm going to drive hard eti abusuan let's be on the watch out because Ghana eba be de yem football no enema eba be sesa ye ba be redefine football no e wo krom hana bibia aye kama ti che wadwene e komesa hye wo ema me bidin e de call bia na obetima frame copy finest is abishia.